Thank you very much. My name is Benita Funke, and I'm working as a cultural officer at the Embassy of Switzerland. I have the pleasure to have with me on stage two renowned authors who have been recently got very much attention with their writings on the migration crisis and the situation for migrants and the issue of integration. For us living in Sweden, the issue has been on the agenda now since the political agenda and the agenda of the media for a short period of time, really. But for these two people, the issue of migration has been an integrated part of their life. Most of you Swedes here will know Theodor Kallifatides. He was born 1938 in Greece. He moved to Sweden in 1964 and is one of Sweden's most loved and appreciated writers. He has written over 40 books and scripts for films in different genres, articles. He's been a teacher of philosophy at the Stockholm University, chief editor of Bonnier's Litterära Magazine, a translator, and also active for human rights and writers' rights through the Swedish pen. Irena Brežná was born 1950 in Czechoslovakia and moved in 1968 to Switzerland. She is a writer and publicist, former war journalist, a scholar in Slavic studies, a psychologist, an intercultural mediator and interpreter, committed to human rights through, among others, the Swiss chapter of Amnesty and the Red Cross. At this stage today, we will discuss the issue of the ungrateful stranger and the question of integration. I would like to start to ask you to begin with your own experience of migration and the impact it had on your writings. Theodor, would you like to start, please?
Yes, thank you. Is it on? This one?
Closer.
Just like here.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great pleasure to present for you Mrs. Irena Brežná. I have read the two books of her and I love them very much, especially the one called The Ungrateful Foreigner. I can relate to this book because it speaks about experiences I had when I came to Sweden. Så här. Är det så här bra? Jesus. Okay, I can relate to that because I remember my coming to Sweden and it was the same kind of difficulties. Everybody was saying my name wrong. Even today, many people say my name wrong. My name meant different things I didn't know about. For example, if I take a taxi and say, please, I want to go to Opera Baren in Stockholm, then the writer almost 100% will ask me, when are you starting washing dishes? Because they think that as a Greek I must wash dishes in Opera Cellaren. That's the thing. So, I would like to ask Mrs. Brežná to tell us about how it was to leave Czechoslovakia as a young woman. I was a young man when I came here, as a young woman. What happened, why Switzerland, and so on. Please.
Hello, welcome. I am so glad to be in Sweden for the second time and that my book just appeared here. I thank Benita from the Swiss Embassy who invited me and that I can share with you my book which appeared in Sweden. When you ask me how it was, I have written it down in the book. You see, therefore, it's difficult just to tell in 1 minute. And when Benita Funke said I moved to Switzerland, so I have to tell that in Czechoslovakia in '68 there was a happy times in the spring when there was a reform of communism, and we were so hopeful, and then the Soviet tanks overrode the country, and my parents decided to emigrate. So I just didn't move. I was in exile for 21 years, and only after '89 I could return back, and now I am returning, and so I live between the cultures, but I wouldn't say it's something bad. There is a flexibility that one can obtain, and to live in several cultures, and so there are several personalities in me, and so I can also understand other people with their cultural backgrounds, and this gives me, well, I feel like much more free. I am not obliged to follow the traditions of the country where I come from, and also not the traditions of the country where I live. So I have this, I am in such an open process, and this is which is happening to many people, that we are on process in the open societies.
How was it for you? How was it for you to meet the new country as a young girl? You were 18 years old or something like that when you came to Switzerland, and you were brought up with a certain tradition in Czechoslovakia. How was it to come to Switzerland?
Yes, I didn't choose the country. We just we were in Vienna, and my parents wanted to go to Canada, and suddenly we were informed that Switzerland is taking refugees from Czechoslovakia, and so just I came, and I was crying all the time. I didn't want to stay there. I wanted to go back and to fight for my country. And I just now when I look at it, I think I was too long sad, and I was too long thinking that I have lost everything. But it is not true that we can obtain new points of view. I could study in a free society, and then I wanted to write. I was already writing in my mother tongue, but then I didn't know that it is possible to change the language. You see, this dogma of the mother tongue for a writer was so strong, and it is still very strong. And then I married a German writer, and I thought he will write down everything what I had to say, but he didn't do it. So I divorced, and I started to write myself. You see, one has to do everything by himself. And this was, and we were already speaking about this, the language, writing in a foreign language. This is also a possibility to be more precise, to be more free. So this is what exile gave to me, a sort of metamorphose, transformation of my personality, and I have now new topics. If I would have stayed in my country, I would write, sure, but I would have other topics.
What about the situation with women and family in Switzerland? It was quite different from the situation in Czechoslovakia, wasn't it?
Yes, you see, in Switzerland, when I came from a dictature, so the people said, oh, this poor girl, she's coming from such a terrible communism and dictature, but in fact, the Czechoslovak women had professions. There were more girls at the universities than boys, so it was just very natural that a woman is in a partnership, in professional partnership with men. In Switzerland, it was a very patriarchal society. The women had no right to vote until 1971. And not only that, they were just nowhere. They were silent, and so this was a shocking experience, but Switzerland had in the 80s feminist movement, and many things changed. But still, it's not so, the structures for mothers are not so good as in Scandinavian countries, that you have so that women can work here and also have children. This is still difficult in Switzerland.
One of the questions that people ask me very often in Sweden is whether I feel Greek or Swedish.
Yeah.
And I do not answer this question simply because I think it doesn't matter. If I say that I'm a Swedish, no one will believe me. And if people know that I'm not Swedish, even when I'm not speaking at all. The other day I was coughing, simply coughing, and somebody behind me said, there are hospitals in this country. And I thought, well, he understood that I'm not Swedish, but how could he understand it? I have not said a word. So probably I even cough in Greek. So do you, and then the next question is, there is this idea that you can change nationality or identity. The second is that if my children, we have both, we have two, if our children speak Greek at home, and they don't, and I get a lot of criticism about that. Do you have that kind of problem in Switzerland? Do you have any kind of problem like that?
Well, I also, you see, in Switzerland, the people ask me, but you are now Swiss, aren't you? You really arrived now, you are here. And so, well, I just can't really, geographically, I can't fix myself. And when I come to Slovakia, the people also ask me, ale si tu doma? So, you are here at home, aren't you? And so, I just, I don't want to answer it. I feel well in the world, and the nationalism or all these are not important for me anymore. And concerning my children, I have two sons and I speak Slovak with them, but they are mixing with German, and I am mixing too, and
okay.
Well, this is like it is.
Another thing I noticed in your book is that, which I also remember from my own coming to Sweden, that there were certain expectations about how one should be. For example, me as a Greek, I should be able to dance on tables, to be happy like Zorba, to sing day long, not to work, a little bit.
And to be grateful.
Yeah. People anticipated how I should be as a Greek here in Sweden. Did you have the same problem when you came to?
Yeah, sure. I think the country where I came, they didn't like that I was intelligent. They were always telling, but how can you be so intelligent? And they suppose that I should be happy because I am living in Switzerland. And so I just answer, you know, you are obliged to be happy only in North Korea.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, there is also that subject of writing in another language than the mother tongue. Once I was in a conference in Helsinki, and the subject was identity and language. So a lot of writers from all over the world came there and talked about how impossible it is to write in another language than your mother tongue. Now, before you have two writers that do exactly that. But that day, I was not very much provoked until a Russian colleague came forward and said that in exactly these words, that writers that write in another language than the mother tongue do not exist. And secondly, if they exist, they are pigs. And then it was my turn to speak, and I started by thanking him because he had proved to me that I neither exist, or if I exist, I'm a pig. So, it is a very special experience to write in another language, and Mrs. Brežná has done it, and I would like her to deal about it for a while.
Yes, I am also confronted with this situation that the people tell me, but how it is possible? You write German so good and even better than me. And then I am answering, but are you a writer? Do you work every day with the language? And for me, German is really a test. So when I want to write something, my thoughts in a foreign language, you can't write just stupid things because you have to take care. In your mother tongue, you just can let you go because the words are coming and going. So it's an advantage for a writer that we have this foreign language. And thank you.
I'm afraid we have to wrap up here. Thank you very much for your attention. The books of the writers are available here, and the writers will be happy to sign. Thank you very much.